Alrighty, what's up guys? Wednesday, July 2nd. This is Taylor doing the premium video. We've got another day in the books and it's a pretty strong market. Not breaking news, of course, but she is mighty strong. You want to keep a close eye on the 8-period EMA, which is the light blue moving average. If you look back at the action from yesterday, QQQ pulled back to the 8-period. And then same thing for NVIDIA, same thing here for the Broadcom, same thing for the SMH and Meta. Meta's kind of cracking it, naughty Meta. Same pullback here for Microsoft and the same pullback here in a lot of your leading big tech Mag 7 household favorite names. I think until we get a decent close below that, they might want to keep the push going. And I, for one, shall not fight it. So QQQ closes a little bit above the 550 strike. And then we got a half day tomorrow. There's a nice end of day 15-minute squeeze. So that being said, if the bulls are feeling a little frisky tomorrow, that could make for a gap up, could make for a push. Maybe a little bit of pre-fireworks before the 4th. But alright guys, a couple things here on the board. In terms of open trades, we've got the put credit spreads in Palo Alto, which I don't love the trade here so far. If they can get it and keep it back above that daily 21, it'll be back in our better graces at that point. Little 30-minute sell signal, your second close below the daily mean. I don't love that. The fact you got a put credit spread, try to give that thing a little bit more time to work. So far, they're doing a decent job of trying to hold the hourly 200. Would I jump in tomorrow and buy more? No, I wouldn't. Well, I would back above 200, but not down here. So being a little patient on that one, and then Bitcoin in the Google. Let's go take a look at those guys. So for the Bitcoin futures, you have a 2-day squeeze and a daily squeeze setting up. And as far as that 2-day squeeze goes, she's picture perfect. Big 3 score of 15. It's our strongest score possible. You got that. You got to squeeze all of your trend, your structure. Better yet, a pretty good entry. Percentage-wise, you could buy it around 110. It'll be invalid back around 104, so it's about, call it 6% of downside in exchange for little bit closer to 8 or 9% upside towards the that 120-ish target. Not too shabby. If you could buy it for maybe a little bit lower, risk reward's that much better. But I like that 2-day squeeze. As far as our daily squeeze goes, she ain't quite picture perfect just yet. And if we check the big 3 labels, we have good trend. Right? The trend is your friend. We've got good structure, stacked EMAs, 21 above the 50, all that jazz. We're lacking momentum. Negative MACD cross back in early June. And it can be frustrating because you've got a really good-looking squeeze, good uptrend behind it, good chart structure. You can have all of that until you get momentum. It can be a little bit more like this. That they pop it, they pull it back. A lot of ugly, irritating back and forth. If they can then go and get the positive shift, full tank of gasolina, we'll get a buy trigger, we'll get a white arrow. Then we've got the 2-for-1 special. White arrow on the 2-day squeeze, white arrow on the daily squeeze. So I want to buy it, I'm waiting to buy it, and the trigger to buy it would be a white arrow here on that daily time frame. You could buy the BTC. Could also look at the iBit. Same thing here as the futures. Squeeze, trend, structure. Got to get that Momo. Could also look at something like a Coinbase. And I would like to think that little put credit spread I sold back here is what kicked off the 60% rally. Nasty, nasty. But yeah, you could look at that, and then kind of a similar daily squeeze here for MicroStrategy. Big 3 score of 10, good structure, good trend. You haven't had bull momentum since, back here in mid-May. And you'll notice, since back there in mid-May, No big breakout, no explosive push. Bit more of a glorified chop fest. But we're keeping an eye on the Bitcoin, and then for Google here, who had a pretty good Wednesday. The bigger picture idea would be the monthly squeeze. And again, another one from a risk-reward perspective. This is pretty damn good. You could buy it around $1.80. It'll be invalid back below, call it $1.60, so let's call it about 12% downside risk. But if they can do what they did back here, monthly squeeze sets up, you got the white arrow, they push, they break out. In that case, that kicked off a casual 55 to 60% rally. If they can do that again and go for round two, it's about 12% downside risk in exchange for about 25 to 30% upside potential. That ain't too shabby. But that, of course, is bigger picture. Little bit more shorter term. They're getting a pretty good looking daily chart going. It would be a lot cooler if they had a daily squeeze. A little bit cooler, but they've got 13 points, trend, structure, momentum. And I think a decent spot to take a nibble here in the short term. You could anchor to that 173, 172-ish level. You've got the 21 EMA, the 200 SMA. If you're trying to play for a short-term path into, call it $1.85, they shouldn't let it go much below that 173-ish. And let's go look at this this end of day 15 minute. Damn, I didn't see that one. Alright, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I might regret not getting that one on a gap up tomorrow. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Apple end of day 15 minute. But alright, couple bigger picture ideas in the Google and in the Bitcoin. And like I said, for Google, you could make it a short-term play. Maybe buying the 175 calls. You could look at the 180 calls. And you're maybe jumping in doing that for the July monthly expiration. Bigger picture, a beauty of a monthly squeeze. And then outside of that, guys, not too much here on the current watch list. I do fancy the daily squeeze setting up here for crowd. I do. Not too much happening here as far as a good trigger. Neutral on the 5 minute, neutral on the 15, neutral on the 30, the 1, the 2, and the 4 hour. Crowd has the lower time frame blues. But I like it. Beautiful squeeze, really good entry. Again, look at it from a percentage point of view. You buy it around 495-ish, you are wrong. About 3.5% lower down to 480. If they can finally break the thing out, the third ATR target's closer to 525, 530. 3.5% risk in exchange for upwards of, let's call it we'll call it 6% upside. If not tomorrow, maybe early next week. We'll try to jump in on the first 15-minute buy trigger, the first 30-minute buy trigger. Definitely keeping an eye on that one. Let's go jump to the Apple here. And not that I think Apple's the cleanest name on the board. And if we go check the rankings here, watching a Lamborghini video, but if we go check the rankings on the almighty Big 3 sheet, as far as our Big 10 basket, right now Apple has 37 points out of 120. It's only about 30% of its best possible score. So therefore, right now, Microsoft is stronger. Meta is stronger. Broadcom is stronger. Nvidia, Netflix, Google, TSM, Amazon, all of the sector ETFs, all these guys, indexes. And that's from more of a multi-time frame point of view. If we pull up Apple again, yeah, you might not have the best looking weekly chart, might not be the best, daily chart in the market. Try to find it on the 1 hour, the 30, and the 15. If it is a moment in time where Apple found a bottom, they are turning back momentum, they're working on the structure, I'm not talking about this week, of course, but bigger picture, shorter term, bigger picture. If there's a path into, call it that 220-ish, 200 SMA, I think a great spot to find that can be the 15-minute squeezes, 30-minute squeezes. If we go look at the 15-minute here, yeah, kind of the trifecta. 15-minute squeeze, big push, they pull it back, they chop, 15-minute squeeze, another big push. The pull back, the chop, and another end of day 15-minute. So we'll see if Apple's got a little bit more gas in the tank for tomorrow. But aside from that, guys, we're watching crowd, we're watching the Google chart, watching the Bitcoin futures 2-day squeeze, daily squeeze. And then, yeah, as far as the market goes, we'll have the chop, we'll have the dips. I think until your dip brings you a good close below your daily AEMA, it's a market ebbing and flowing towards higher prices. More importantly, don't put yourself in a position where the QQQ pulls back a few points to the AEMA, and it's an emotionally damaging experience. You should look at that and think, all right, beautiful. We pulled back to the momentum moving average. Now, if they can hold it, give me a 5-minute buy trigger, 15-minute buy trigger. I'll jump in, keep on playing the path higher. But if we're up here at, say, 555, and you jump in, you're buying a bunch of the 560 calls for a few days out, that healthy kickback to an AEMA will be a little bit uncomfortable. But all right, guys, have a great night. If I don't talk to you tomorrow, happy 4th. Enjoy, have fun, be safe. Thank you all as always for being a part of the community, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Adios.